Welcome back to the Global Ledger. I'm Justin. When people hear the phrase flash crash, I think they usually imagine panic, traders freaking out, algorithms losing control, and fear spreading instantly. And it sounds really emotional and very chaotic and unfortunately unpredictable. But today's episode makes a different claim. Flash crashes are not panic events. They are structural events. And to understand them, we have to let go of psychology and look at the plumbing. Let's get into it. A flash crash has a distinctive signature. Prices gap violently, liquidity vanishes, spreads explode, trades occur far from fair value, and then things often recover quickly. That recovery is important. It tells us something. It tells us fundamentals didn't change, information didn't suddenly reverse, and confidence didn't magically return either. What failed wasn't belief, it was structure. Speed gets blamed a lot. High-frequency trading, algorithms, automation. But speed doesn't cause flash crashes. Speed reveals them. Fast markets simply expose structural weaknesses instantly instead of slowly. The crash was already embedded in the system. Speed just pulled the curtain back. Flash crashes emerge when several conditions align. Okay, here are some. Liquidity providers step back simultaneously. Risk limits are hit across firms. Hedging becomes uncertain. Funding conditions tighten. And arbitrage breaks down. Okay, at that point, bids disappear. Price continuity breaks. And markets gap to find the next willing balance sheet. No panic required there at all. Just strictly structural constraints. But why does liquidity vanish all at once? Okay, this is the key insight. Liquidity doesn't disappear randomly. It disappears together. And why is this? Similar risk models, shared funding markets, common margin rules, and correlated positioning. When one constraint binds, many bind. That synchronization is what creates sudden air pockets. Flash crashes aren't bugs. They're features of electronic markets, balance sheet constrained intermediaries, leveraged arbitrage, and conditional liquidity. They're the price we pay for efficiency in calm times, speed in execution, tight spreads, and capital efficiency. The trade-off is fragility under stress. And it's so important to talk about this, especially with ARC VIII and why it brought us here. ARC VIII has been a journey through market structure, okay, how prices are formed, why immediacy costs money, how volatility is traded, how hedging moves markets, how arbitrage becomes systemic, how ETFs transmit stress, how treasury markets fragment, okay, and why liquidity can be an illusion. Flash crashes are where all of that converges, okay? They are structure revealing itself in seconds. But why does this matter going forward? Okay, if you think flash crashes are about panic, you'll look for villains, you'll miss warning signs, and you'll misunderstand future risks. If you understand them as structural, dislocations make sense, recovery paths become clearer, and regulation becomes part of the conversation. Which brings us to what comes next. ARC VIII was about how markets actually function. Okay, ARC IX will be about how markets are changing. Okay, this is technology, regulation, infrastructure, rules. Okay, in episode 81, we're going to begin ARC IX with Basel Revisited. Okay, and we've talked about Basel before. We're going to revisit this. I want to talk about why regulation changes liquidity. Because once you understand market structure, you realize something crucial. Regulation doesn't just constrain risk, it reshapes liquidity itself. That's where we're headed next. Thank you for listening to episode 80 of the Global Ledger. We talked about flash crashes, and this is the final episode of ARC VIII for now. So once again, I'm Justin, and thank you for being here.